Alrighty, let's get to the point. Do Call of Duty control settings matter? Well, that depends. If you're a veteran of the series or a subset of player that identifies as sweaty, then yeah, absolutely. Dialing in that sensitivity just right or making sure those dead zones don't bother you is 100% going to make a difference. And there was a time in my youth where all of that mattered to me. There was a point in my life where I absolutely lived and breathed Call of Duty. I remember when Call of Duty 4 first came out on the Xbox 360. I played the beta and it was incredible. It was a game changer. There was nothing quite like it. Back then I was working for a retailer called JB Hi-Fi in Sydney, Australia. I worked in the game section, absolutely loved it. And every day after my shift, I'd make my hour and 10-minute trek back home on the bus to go and just sit down and play Call of Duty until I had to wake up and go back to work again. The truth is, I've been chasing that feeling ever since. But the reality is, I just don't have that kind of time to play games like Call of Duty, or any video game for that matter. Now, I apparently identify as a dad gamer. My reflexes aren't what they used to be. And if I do manage to get the drop on you, there's a very good chance that I'll choke and get wrecked in the process. What you may not know is that there is a difficulty level in Call of Duty above veteran, a mode I like to call dad mode. You see, real life kill streaks come into play, whether or not it's your kid blocking the screen, or them pile driving you in the gentleman's region. You get about 3 matches a night after having 4 hours sleep. You just don't stand a chance. And look, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love being at the top of the leaderboard, but these days I'm often in the middle or on the bottom. It's just the way it goes. You've got things like skill-based matchmaking that come into play. You have a couple of bad matches and just as you're about to pull the plug, that good match comes your way. You feel like a god, jump back in again, all bad matches. It's a vicious cycle, a cycle that never seems to end with Call of Duty. And then we've got the guns. It feels like every second YouTube video is about what equipment you should be using, your loadout, what the new meta is. In the beta, we're looking at the Jackdaw being the primary heavy hitter. And there are going to be people out there that tell you that if you use this gun, you're not a skilled player. But does any of that actually matter? Just the same as the settings, not a whole lot. Use whatever gun you want to use. If you want to use the most tricked out meta build, then absolutely go for it. In saying that, there are plenty of other guns out there that you probably should try. And yes, this gun may give you the slight edge, but at the end of the day, at the level that you and I are probably at, I don't think it matters a whole lot. Get out there, try new guns, try new builds. You may end up finding what the next meta is, but ultimately it's personal preference. There are some guns that are just going to feel a lot better in your hands. They're going to move at a rate that works for you. All right, let's take a quick look at one of the settings here called low motor strain, which increases the stick sensitivity, reduces your dead zones, but also adds a few additional behaviors around movement. So we'll turn that on and I'll show you how it works. Essentially, I can double tap the stick forward, and what that will do is it will automatically move me forward like so. As you can see, I'm not touching it, and my character is continuing to move forward. I'm also able to move the right stick around and still continue. I can shoot, and I can even aim down sights. And what you'll notice here is that I'm not holding any buttons at all at the back there. And the ADS is staying stuck. So that's just toggling the ADS. These settings actually do remain on despite the fact that you set them off. You will need to go back into the various settings here and switch them off. As you can see, the aim down sight behavior there is set to toggle. So we're going to need to change that back to hold. So that's just worth mentioning as well. If you do switch that on, the settings do remain on. It's toggling them in other locations. The other option that we have here is simplified controls. And what that does is that turns on sprint assist, mantle assist in all directions, as well as crouch assist. To show that a little bit further, we'll turn on simplified controls, which are activated over here in the intelligent movement section. Now, the cool thing about all of this is it means that you don't have to use as many button presses to be able to activate certain features. So for example, mantling works in such a way where if you run towards something and just keep holding forwards, you don't have to press A to mantle. Now this could throw you off your game, especially if you want to use something like these pile of boxes here as cover. And just to show you again, what I mean is I'm simply holding up, running towards it, I'm not pressing A at all, and they're mantling. You can adjust this so that you're not mantling higher objects, only lower objects, like something like this, but it really is based off personal preference. Another setting that it impacts is the way that you sprint. So this is my normal sprint. And if I hit the left thumbstick in, I go into a tactical sprint. That's reducing the amount of button presses that you need to use to go into a tactical sprint. Normally you'd have to double press the left thumbstick in if you're using a controller. So that helps as well. If there are any instances where you would go ahead and crouch, it would automatically crouch for you. You wouldn't have to hit the right thumbstick in. I don't believe that there's anywhere on this map where you can crouch. At least I haven't found any. But essentially, if you move towards any sections where you crouch, it will automatically do that for you as well. To really highlight how all of this works, if we go into the movement section here, you can fine tune a lot of this stuff. So as you can see here, there is an option there to turn on tactical sprint assist rather than hitting on. So on is for full movement, whereas this is for tactical sprint. So same sort of deal. If I'm running forwards, I'll go into a full-blown tactical sprint like so. So I'm not actually hitting any buttons, I'm just holding forwards, and then the tactical sprint kicks in, and that kicks in on a timer. So just to show you that timer there, if you press the X button to show more, if you're playing on Xbox, you can see that there's a sprint assist delay. You can increase that timer if you so choose to, and what that'll do is increase the delay before you go into the full-blown tactical sprint. I'm leaving all of this on for now just because it means it's fewer button presses for me, and I kind of like the way that it moves. It keeps me moving, keeps me fluid. The same thing applies with the mantle assist, as I mentioned before. There's a low mantle assist as well as just a full-blown mantle assist, as in it will mantle absolutely everything, and the crouch assist as well. And as you can see, you can adjust that in all sorts of different directions, sideways, backwards, and so on. So you really can fine-tune this intelligent movement. Speaking of movement, there are just a couple of other settings I quickly want to show you. One, if I am sprinting, I will automatically door bash. That's something I do regularly, and occasionally it gets me into trouble, especially if I'm trying to be a bit more tactical. You can go into the settings menu here, change over to your movement settings, and head down to advanced settings and turn off the sprinting door bash. So if you are somebody who's sprinting around all the time, or you have the automatic sprint or sprint assist turned on, what that means is with that off, if you sprint towards a door like so, nothing happens. There is also an additional feature around door peeking. So if you ADS and go up and hold down the X button on Xbox, you will door peek. However, if you're somebody who always door peeks, and this may or may not be you, but if you are playing a little bit more of a tactical game, a slower game, to deal with all those people rushing around, you can also go ahead and adjust the same settings in movement to turn on auto door peek. And what that means is that it will automatically do it for you. So if I turn that on now, as it was before, hold down ADS. I'm not going to hold X, I'm just going to push up against the door. Okay, so just to show you that again, backing off there, ADS, not holding down X, pushing towards the door, and as you can see, the door opens. And again, look, all of these settings are not designed to be able to make you a better Call of Duty player, but you can adjust them around your specific playstyle, and you may end up with fewer inputs, which is ultimately, I think, better for your hands, especially if you're on the verge of suffering from something like RSI, and also saves your controller a little bit there too. Fewer inputs can totally be a good thing. So if you can forget about the kill-death ratio, your stats being top of the leaderboard or being as good as you once were, if you can realize that settings at this point probably don't matter, I think that you'll end up having a lot more fun. Black Ops 6 is actually a really good game, and it is only in beta, but I feel like it's a fresh take on the series, and things like omnidirectional movement really do change up the game. These days, I probably only have about an hour in the early morning or late evening to be able to play games, and I certainly don't want to spend it in the settings menu. So if you're anything like me, please go out there and just play the game. I promise you, you will eventually get better, but it's not really about that. It's just about having a good time. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time. Bye guys.